Alright, well, today it decided to snow, which is the main reason I stuck this thing right where I stuck it, and I am glad I did, because I really didn't want to be working on it out there in that. This, a little better. Still cold, but I can handle cold. So for now, I'm not even going to open the gate. I'm going to leave that board there to keep stuff from blowing in as much as I can. And we will jump right in.
Oh, no way. There's a skid steer here. Come on, you very jerky.
Well, we got the Gale back home. I'm gonna start just power washing this thing. So I pulled the belly pan on this working on here. This is a Gale 4625SX. Has a small little 4-cylinder Kubota diesel engine. It is a V2203 is the model. Okay, guess there's a little more coolant in there. The oil is just so thick. I don't have an air compressor with me. I did bring this one. But that looks nasty. I'm wondering if that's the original one. Ooh. Alright, I'm gonna turn the key. Let's see if we got clicky clack. Beautiful. So the plan is, I think that the issue why we're not getting fuel to the rail is there is a stuck shut-off, basically lever inside the injector pump or something in that area. So I'm going to start by pulling the inspection cover off, trying to get some penetrant in there and gently move it back and forth if I can. If not, we'll pull the injector pump and see if we need to break into that to get a lot of the junk cleaned out of it. I'm betting it's pretty varnished from having sat for, this thing probably sat for a decade, maybe more. So let's jump down there, figure that out, and we'll let Mother Nature do her thing outside. Right here, right where you see these two holes, that's where the fuel shutoff solenoid goes. And it attaches to this little lever right here. And so what it'll do is when you give it power, it will take this lever and push it that way. And what that does, that opens up the fuel rail inside the injection pump, allowing fuel in. And then when you pull this all the way back, like that, what happens is you're shutting fuel off. And so I believe that whatever's in there, the mechanism, the actual lever, is not moving, because this is way too loose. There's just too many things on this that are leading me to believe I'm not getting fuel supply. It hasn't even coughed once, hasn't barked once, hasn't even smoked at all. And I haven't been able to get a single bit of fuel out of any of these injectors lines or out of the poppet valves here on the injection pump. So I believe it's before those, which would make sense because fuel comes in right here and you got your shut off here. And if this is in the off position, it's not allowing fuel to get to those poppets to allow it to come through them, up through these lines, back down to the injector. So, I mean, this machine sat for a long time, so it's not surprising that it's had these issues. Oh, she's fighting me, this old little beast. It's okay. Once it's running, it'll be that much sweeter. This here, this is our lift pump / fuel pump. And right on this little lever here, this is a priming pump. You pump this, and it moves the diaphragm inside, and it pulls fuel up from wherever it's coming from, basically from the tank or from the filter, up into the injection pump. So this could also have an issue, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. We need to be able to get fuel past the injection pump. there's our bracket for the fuel shutoff solenoid. And there's our cover right there. And this lever here should contact a little shuttle in here and move back and forth. And you hear that clicking? It's tight in there. So it's definitely not moving the way it should. So I'm going to take this intake manifold off, which requires taking the injector lines off, because I do think I'm going to need to pull the injector pump. But for now, we'll just get this out of our way. All right, there's our injector lines. Stick a rag over the injectors to keep dirt from falling in. There's our intake manifold. Pretty dirty in there. That's not a good thing. Alright, so take this linkage for the throttle out. Stick that up there. And this is the fuel line coming from the little lift pump to the injector pump. And this is the basically bypass line, so that when you open up this valve here to bleed it, any of the additional fluid goes right into the injector or overflow tube back to the tank. So take these two lines off the pump. And these are all brand new lines. I just put them on. I felt something spring in there. I'm wondering if the return spring for this went back to where it should. Alright, I got this little spring mechanism that threads into this hole here. And I'm going to tap the lever with a hammer. Problem is, I cannot get this out because the injector pump is stuck in a way that it will not release to come straight up. So the lever has to move backwards. Just going to give it a few taps. There it went. I think it moved. Let's try the injector pump now. And it should just lift straight up and off. Like so. Beautiful. Alright, there's our injector pump. And this is the rod that should move freely back and forth. And it does not. So, this injector pump is definitely stuck. Another big thing to note is that there are no gears for timing this in the injector pump at all. The way it's timed is with these shims right here. So whatever you do, don't lose or ruin these shims. You have to make sure to hang on to these. These are very important. Alright, here's the injector pump. And we already took off all 4 of these tappets, replaced the O-rings, and kind of cleaned up the top end. But what I found out was kind of what I was hoping not to find. Alright, so this is the bottom of the injector pump, and these are rollers. They ride on a camshaft that's inside the injection pump housing. And as you can see, this one will spring up and down, same with this one. These two here, this one and this one, do not spring back. So this one on the end here, it moves fine, just not by the spring. So I think that the spring inside there is broken. Let's see if this one moves. Yep, so that one moves too. So I think that spring may be broken as well. I think. We'll find out, I guess. Either way, this has to be opened up and fixed. It still won't. This is the slide here. This should go side to side, basically opening and closing the valve to allow fuel or not allow fuel. And it's not doing that, so. I don't know, maybe it's not broken. I think it might just be stuck. Alright, I got it apart, and the two rollers that I thought were broken spring-wise, the spring is fine. It was just jammed up in there and gummed up from sitting for so long that it bound up this little shaft. This little shaft is what twists in there, and that groove allows fuel or doesn't allow fuel, depending on where it's located. And so those were jammed in there, not allowing this to happen. This is the fuel shutoff rail that, when in the right spot, does not allow fuel to move where it should. So I haven't taken apart these two yet, and I think I will because something's binding, and better off to just clean all this stuff, put it back together. There is no timing in this. The only thing you have to worry about lining up is this little gear is what contacts this rod here on the inside, and there's a notch right there, and that notch has to line up perfectly on this shaft or you won't get everything to work right. So beyond that, it's actually fairly simple, just got to take your time. Most people wouldn't do this. They would send it off somewhere. I don't have time for that. So I am not calling this a rebuild, I'm calling this a disassembly, clean up, put back together. And I think that's going to fix it. See how that kind of jammed a little bit right there? Still got some gunk in there. Good, these springs still look right. They look like they're the same length still. That's good to see. Happy about that. Yeah, this pump looks great. There's not any real big rust in it. There's no debris. There's some slight corrosion on these pieces. This one's got it pretty good. But I think it was just bound up from sitting for so long. Whatever bad fuel was sitting in there, maybe it had a little water in it. I don't know. But I'm going to clean all this up, and I don't have a doubt in my mind this thing's going to work great. Alright, I'm kind of getting snowed on here, so I kind of moved myself a little bit. Got everything covered that I've cleaned. And so this shaft was stuck in this sleeve here, and that was what was causing it not to be able to shut the fuel off or on. It was just stuck. So this should be a very, very tight fit, and I'll show you once I get it cleaned up. You can literally plug this hole and this hole with your finger and watch the plunger just suck back up due to the suction that it creates. So I'm just using wire brush, some penetrating oil, and just going at every little crevice that I can get at, getting it really nice and clean, shiny. It's really not that bad. I do not believe water got into this. I believe it was just old fuel that caused it to get bound up just for having sat for so long. And nothing's broken, nothing's missing. Springs are in good shape. So I got lucky there. Alright, so now that I got it kind of generally clean, take some of this penetrant right in there, put this rod back in the tube, and just start working it around. And it's all four of them have been kind of tough. This is the last one at the beginning, just due to the fact that whatever varnish is in this tube has to get kind of cleaned off by this rod. But within 10, 20, 30 seconds of this thing will be going in and out of this real nice and easy. So if I plug this hole on the end and one on the side with my finger, you watch, it will basically pull itself right back in. Just like that. So that's how tight a fit this is, should be. So it doesn't take much to clog this up, but it should be able to retract like that. So I'm just going through each and every piece, just cleaning it up, putting it back together. Alright, so I got really cold out here and it was kind of snowing on me. So I took this home and literally on my kitchen table, reassembled it. And now all the rollers protrude the same amount. They all work. They're all spring loaded. The rack, fuel shutoff rack, moves perfectly. And since there is no timing in this, we don't have to worry about lining up some gear. Each of these has a gear that contacts this rail here that twists a shaft which will shut off fuel to each one of the injectors. And so what happened, it was totally stuck to the off, and two of these would not move within the shaft would not twist, therefore it would also not move side to side. This repair saved me anywhere from $400 to $1,000. So just by cleaning it up and putting it back together. So I'm pumped about that. I couldn't wait. I wanted to put it back on the machine even though it's still snowing coming down. We've probably got 6 inches of snow out there. But let's go try it out. Alright, I've already got, there are 3 different shims right there. Exactly where they were. So, because those springs, the rollers are under a spring, it doesn't drop on perfect, so you have to actually probably tighten these down so that the springs will then be under a compressed load. Now when I reach in here and move this lever by hand, I can actually actuate the shutoff. Before, that thing did not move at all. So that's awesome. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get some pressure. Oh yeah, we're getting it. Look. Injector, injector. We're getting some puffs. Starting to smoke. Alright, I'm gonna engage the glow plugs for a minute. These old Kubotas like their glow plugs. Awesome, I'm so excited. It's gonna start. I know it. Alright, here we go. There we go. The last injector. Last injector's got fluid. Yeah, buddy. Awesome. It's gonna go. I'm gonna give it some more glow plugs. Alright, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I stop here. I really want to keep going, but it's snowing. It's like 20 degrees out right now. It's a terrible time to do first startup on an engine that hasn't run in a while, because when things are cold, problems can happen a lot easier. So I now know I've got fuel all the way to the injectors, and I'm starting to get some puffs of smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe. So extremely ecstatic that we got the fuel injection pump fixed, and it's at least working good enough. I'm pretty sure it's going to work great. We won't know that until we get it all put back together. But for tonight, I'm done. I'm going to button it all back together, put the shutoff valve back on, and then we'll deal with the rest of it when it's a little bit warmer. Or at least not now. So I may not wait until it's too much warmer, because I'm excited and I really want to get it going. But I am pumped to say that we are almost there. It's warmed up a little bit. It's still snowy and cold, but I'm impatient. I want to see if this thing will fire up. So we're going to do that right now. Got it primed. It's probably about, I don't know, 35, 38 degrees out. Way better than 25 degrees. So let's give it a shot. See what happens. I do think that it's got a head gasket issue or something causing coolant to get into the crankcase. But for now, I'm going to put coolant in this so that when we get it running, it won't, I can run it longer and harder and not worry about overheating. That's about a gallon, and we're at the top. So I'm going to go with that, and it may be too much, but it'll be fine for now. Alright, we're going to give it a break. Alright, keys turned. I'm going to whip it over in 24 volts with the jumper pack on it and see if that makes any difference. I still don't think we're getting fuel down through the injectors. I think we've got fuel to the injectors, but I think that the injectors themselves are still kind of stopped up. It's the only thing I can think, because we're getting a little bit of smoke, So some fuel is getting through somewhere, but not much. And the only time we got to actually fire was with a little bit of ether. And now that we've run the glow plugs, I don't want to use any ether at all. So I think I'm going to pull the injectors out and go through those before we go any further. Alright, so here's the inside of the injector. And as you can see, there's a lot of built up crud in there that is keeping this thing from firing or letting fuel through. The other thing is these needles. Okay, this one's actually not totally stuck. The other one that I just finished, you couldn't pull this out. So that's the needle right there that goes through the tip, and the fuel is injected through this hole. So for now, I'm just cleaning these up, putting them back together. I did order a new set of injectors, haven't gotten them yet, so the plan is just to use these for now, even though I know once I put them back together, they're not probably going to be properly pop tested and to certain PSI. And I'm okay with that because I don't intend on keeping these in the machine for long. Alright, injectors are back in. Time to prime it up. Alright, all the injectors back in, lines back on. Now we're gonna crank it over, prime it up. Got all 4 injectors cracked right here. So yeah, let's do it. We're gonna try a little ether. Chug-a-lug-lug. No men in a tub. Alright, now it's turning over too slow. Alright, these Kubotas are really sensitive. They like their glow plugs. And so I have the multimeter set up to see if we're getting power. Each one of these is a glow plug. And so there's a wire coming in right here that connects to this metal bar. And when power is sent to that wire, the glow plugs are each individually receiving that power. And then on the inside of the glow plug, it glows. That's why it's called a glow plug. It glows, getting the cylinder warm so that it's easier to fire. So I've got the positive here on that bar where power should show up, and then I've got the negative just stuck into the battery over there on the battery terminal. So if we watch this gauge, when I engage the glow plugs up top, we'll know whether or not we have power going to that bar. We will hear a solenoid click, but we'll see if we get any voltage. That's the solenoid. Nothing. Nope. So somewhere in the wiring, it's not sending voltage to that circuit. So I got to figure that out. All right, right now we're going to test the glow plug circuit. This wire here runs down to that little solenoid right there that I pulled. If we take one side of the continuity tester and we go from this wire here to the wire that goes to the glow plugs, we get continuity. So this wire here is the wire that sends the electrical signal up to the glow plugs. So power has got to come from this one, jump across to here, and then we will have power up at the top. So let's connect one wire to one side of that solenoid and connect the other one to the other side of the solenoid, and then we'll turn the key and find out if we've got power jumping across it. We'll do it like these little alligator connectors, and then what I can do is clamp one end of the alligator connector onto the lead so that it doesn't let go. This makes it easier for being able to show you what I'm doing. Where'd my other one go? There it is. It fell off. Okay. The other reason this is helpful is because of the fact that I need to go turn the key, which is not right here. All right, now we got those hooked up. Make sure they're still hooked up. Yep. All right, I'm gonna turn the key to the glow plug circuit, and we'll see if we've got continuity. Nope. So power is not jumping across that circuit. So that solenoid is bad. So to get our glow plugs working, that solenoid is what we need to replace. And just to double check and make sure that our meter is working, take it, touch it to itself, and we have continuity. So, all right, now we know that solenoid is also bad. Let me see if I've got another solenoid like that, and we'll get it replaced. All right, the other thing that we want to know, does this solenoid ever actually have power? So we'll take and we'll put one lead on the power coming in, this red wire, and then one to ground, and we've got 12.85 volts. So that tells us we've got power going to that solenoid, and now we know for sure that it's not jumping across the solenoid, powering the glow plug relay when we engage it. So yeah, perfect. A couple quick tests helps us there. All right, I'm gonna pull this solenoid out and replace it, because I'm pretty sure it's bad. Got this solenoid. It's good to go. All right, I'm back. It's been really, really cold lately. Like, we're talking down in the low, 1 to 4 degrees outside Fahrenheit. And so I haven't been working on this thing for the last few days. But today I'm back. Looks like the machine's gotten a little bit frosted, but whatever. I want to see if we did just throw that new solenoid in for the glow plug circuit. And I've got it connected. And then I've got this test light touching the power wire that would go to each of basically the rail of glow plugs. Got it grounded, and I've got it touching the power wire. So if we turn this key up here to the glow plug circuit, that light you should hear it click, and that light should turn on. Perfect. And then when we crank it, I'm not sure if we're supposed to have glow plugs when we crank or not. Looks like we do. So now our glow plug circuit is working, which is great. As a demonstration, we're going to go ahead and pull one of the glow plugs out, connect it to the power, and I'll show you what a glow plug is and what it's designed for and the way it works. All right, so this is a glow plug. And what happens, it's not a spark plug. A spark plug in a gasoline engine creates a spark that ignites, causing combustion within the chamber. A glow plug is not for that. A glow plug is for use when it's cold outside, like right now. And so the way it works is power, 12 volts gets sent to this, and it's grounded because it's screwed into the block, or actually the head in this case. And so the way that works is, as power gets sent to it, this basically electrode, I'd call it, it glows. And what that does is it creates heat inside the chamber on the diesel engine, warming it up, creating a better environment for the diesel to combust within the engine to get it started. And once it's started and running, you don't need the glow plugs. They don't get used, they're just there. So, and honestly, in a lot of cases, when it's warm outside, you also don't need them. So, that's essentially the way it works and what it's designed for. What we're going to do here, I'm going to show you the way it glows. I did buy a pack of 4 nude glow plugs because the second cylinder is completely broken off and missing. And so it was cheaper to buy 4 than 1. So we're going to replace them all, but for now, I'm going to show you how this works. All right, I've got this glow plug sitting here. I took a jumper wire from the actual body of the plug over to a ground here on the bolt, and that should give us the, basically as if it was grounded into the machine, screwed in. The power wire is connected right there to the, directly to this, to the glow plug. So what we're going to do is turn the key, and this should either glow or smoke or both. Right, I'm going to turn the key here. There it goes. So whatever oil is on it's kind of burning off a little bit. See how it's glowing? Hence the name glow plug. And so you can basically do different cycles of glow plug if you need to continue to warm the inside of that cylinder. So that right there is not something you want to touch either after it's been glowing. That's the point of a glow plug, to warm up the inside of the cylinder so that it can fire on the compression. It does not fire because this is glowing in there. It fires because it literally is warmer inside the cylinder. Because diesels need mainly 2 things to fire. They need compression and they need fuel. Now they also need air too, but it's not the same as a gasoline engine. Alright, I still cannot get this thing to fire up. I know I have fuel all the way to the injectors. I know the injectors are free, doesn't mean they're great, but it should at least try. And so I've gotten it to pop off once with some ether. We're going to pull the valve cover and see if maybe that is an issue. Like valves are so out of, adjustment that it's not creating compression completely, or maybe there's something, one of the valves are stuck. I don't know. I've had it off once. I don't think that's the issue, but at this point I know there's oil in the coolant, and I thought it was really bad last night, and I thought maybe it was an oil cooler situation. Well, it does have a hydraulic oil cooler, and that is right by the radiator, but there's no oil and water that can mix there because it literally is just a fin. So the oil runs through it and the fan blows air over the fins, cooling the oil, instead of it being a water-cooled one like on the International scissor lift dump truck that I had to replace. So let's get this valve cover off, see what we've got under there. I mean, they're a little loose, a couple of them, but it's not ridiculous. Like right there, that's the biggest one. I don't know, let's crank this engine over, pull this out. Pull this out. Let's crank it over and see what we see. They're all moving. No valves are stuck. Still not getting any kind of fire. I hate when diesels are a struggle because it's not like you're missing spark or something. It's all compression and fuel, and you don't have one of those two, and that and air. I mean, all engines need air, but I don't know. I am hoping it's not a head. It's got some pretty bad cracks in it. Although I wouldn't think a head or even a bad head gasket would cause it not to fire. I really don't. I think this machine was ran for a long time with no filter. There is a massive buildup of gunk in the air cleaner, in the intake, on the head going into the head, and on the tube that would go from here to here. I think it was ran, because I don't have a back cap for this, so I'm either going to have to find a different air filter or find the cap for that. I did buy 2 air filters for it, the inner, the outer one, which is the primary one, and then the inner one, which is your secondary filter. I bought both of those for this setup, but I need to get a back cap, and I can't find one online anywhere, so I'm going to have to figure that out. And I'm just hoping it didn't run hot and ruin the head, which is definitely a possibility. So before I tear into the engine, I want to get it to run, and I'm missing something here, because it's not complicated to get diesels running. So either they're just completely, the rings are just gone and there's no compression, or I'm missing something. Alright, so this machine does have a block heater, which is right here, and the problem is when I plug this in, it trips the breaker. So we'll plug it into the cord here, boom, lights went out. Alright, so I'm betting there's a short in this cord somewhere, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this plug out. And I'm going to chop it off, and I'll put a different cord on it. Alright, before I chop it off, let's put an ohm meter on it, and see if we do have like a break or a short. So we'll put one end in this plug, and then we'll touch each of these until we get a circuit. Open, open, open. So there was kind of a circuit. Alright, so that plug goes to this one. Okay, we'll go to the middle one. I'm going to bet the middle one is probably ground, which would be this big lug. Yep. And then third one there. Well, they're all working. Alright, what I want to do now is plug this in and test it then. Well, that actually tells me maybe the cord is fine. Maybe it's the plug on the motor that is shorted out. So if I go back to volts, AC, and put one plug in here. So we're getting 115 volts. Like that. I would say the cord is probably fine just due to the fact that it didn't trip the breaker with it being unplugged from the motor. So I'm going to have to look at the plug, the actual glow plug itself on the motor. So before I go and chop this cord, and I did bring, I have another cord here that it's a nicer cord, it's longer, it's got a better plug on it, but before I go chopping that one, splicing this one in, what I'm going to do is try and figure out if the glow plug itself has got an issue. I don't know how that comes out. There's a screw in the middle of it, and it looks like it's almost like pressed in. Let's see if we've got continuity in this block heater. So the middle one is the ground wire. This is a 3-plug, so we're still good with the meter. Test that one and that one. So usually these go down to like 0. This is showing continuity. We've got 32 ohms. The way a block heater works is essentially it creates resistance because there's a coil in there, and that coil heats up, and then that's what heats the coolant in the block, heating the block up. So we have continuity. I don't know if 32 ohms is too much or not enough or whatever. Usually when you ohm something out, you get down near 0, 1 to 0, like that. When we put this across, we're getting 32, 33. So that could be bad. The breaker that this is plugged into could be underpowered for what this needs to run. Not sure on that one. All right, I'm gonna give it a little glow plug, and we're gonna try and fire it off. So I've got the test light in there, and that indicates when the glow plugs are on. All right, here we go with starting it. Try some more glow plugs. I still think we got a fuel issue because we're not getting any kind of smoke. There's a little bit. Let's try the glow plugs again. Something's trying. I heard a... Try some more glow plugs. Oh man, I still think it's fuel. I think we got a fuel supply issue still. When you use glow plugs, do not use ether. Ugh. Alright. Could be gel fuel because it's cold. It could be we're still not getting fuel through the injectors, I think. It could be lack of compression. If we don't have enough compression in there, it's not going to fire. I don't know. I've got new glow plugs coming. I've got new injectors coming. I don't think it's fuel pump because I've got a little inline clicky-clack pushing fuel. You know, even if the small mechanical one was bad, the little one, the electric one, should make up for that. I just want it to start! Man, come on. That's just one problem after the other. But the upside to it is, as you work through issues like this, as you troubleshoot and diagnose what the problems are, follow up each one of these problems and you solve each one, and you work your way through things, and you deal with new problems that you've never done, then that makes you a better mechanic, more skilled, more capable of handling new challenges, even bigger challenges as time goes on, as you move forward with whatever the heck you're working on. So, you know, don't look at situations like this as like, oh man, I'd hate to be in that situation. Because no, I look at it like it's a learning experience. Every single time I get a machine that doesn't run, or some sort of a new complex project that I have to figure out, or how do I do something that I've never done before, you know, it's a learning experience. It's a time where I can grow my skills and abilities and move forward with the capability to be better prepared to do more later in life. All right, I'm going to add some of this basically supplement. I put this diesel fuel supplement in all of my diesel engines, especially being in the Midwest. We've got low temperatures, and they can range from anywhere from, you know, 100 degrees down to negative 10, 20, 30 degrees. Not usually that low. Usually negative 20 is probably the lowest of it. What this will do is it'll help avoid the diesel fuel gelling up. So we're gonna stick this in there now, and hopefully if there's any gelling that's already happened, this will basically get that taken care of. How much? Yeah, that much. That's probably good. I'm gonna keep about that much for in case I need to change the fuel filter and fill it up. We're gonna give this block heater another shot here. Alright, so I decided to pull this plug out again. Look. Well, it looks like smoked that plug there. I have to get a new one of those to be able to use the block heater. For now, we'll just move on without it, and I'll get one of those ordered. Well, yet again, I can't figure it out, and haven't gotten it all worked out as to what the issue is here. This machine is so abused and broken and beaten up that I just have a feeling that the rings are so bad that there's no compression. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna split it into one more video. We're gonna give it one more try getting this thing going. I got a few more ideas. If I can't do that, it's time for a new engine. So if you have a V2203 Kubota diesel engine sitting around that you don't need or use, I'd be interested in it. Please contact me. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get this thing running well enough. I am debating on tearing the entire motor apart and rebuilding it, you know, new sleeve, you know, the pistons, rings, everything. I just don't know if I want to go that far with it. I want to get this thing working, and then we'll go from there. So, I got a hill climber. The bad Can-Am just climbing a vertical slope. It's awesome. Thanks as always for joining me on the project, but the next part is also ready to watch right now. So, Maverick and I would love for you to go check that out. So I don't say this much, but please consider subscribing. Go ring that bell and let me know that you enjoy the channel. Leave a comment. You know, tell me your experience with the machine that you couldn't get running. I'd love to know. You know, and if you have any ideas on what I could do past what I've done so far, definitely leave me a comment and let me know. You know, I enjoy hearing from you. I enjoy reading your comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you'd like. Lots more to come. I have tons of machines and so much content coming that you would miss out on some fun stuff. I also have, potentially, a new shop coming. So, stay tuned, stick around. This little Gale has been fighting me every step of the way. But, no matter what, I'm going to make it work. So, go check the new video out. Alright, Maverick and I, see you guys later. Come on, buddy. Let's go, come on. So today it's just me and Maverick. We got about, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches of snow. And so we're gonna go for a walk in the woods. Come on, buddy. Good boy, come on. Good boy. For those of you that haven't seen it, this is a shipping container bridge that a buddy of mine built. He took a shipping container that had no top and literally stuck it across a creek. For this reason exactly, running it right, stuff right across it. Let's go, come on. All right, check it out. So this is a little Can-Am. Awesome machine my buddy just got. We're gonna take a quick ride with it, and Maverick's gonna chase us. Alrighty. Good boy. All right, go ahead and go. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Maverick. Good boy. Come here, buddy. No? Okay. How do you guys tire out your dogs? Good boy, buddy. Good boy, Maverick. So here's that bridge that I was talking about. Basically a shipping container that had no roof. I've shown it on the channel before, but for those of you that haven't seen it, makes for a good bridge. All right, here's the hill climb. It's hard to show on camera how tall it is, but we just went up a couple hundred yards. That's the building right there where the skid steer's at. There's the shipping container way down there. Hard to stay, but we're going down a pretty steep hill right now. All right, here's that hill. Container bridge is down there. That's how steep this is. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the ride.
Yeah.